Good morning, evening, and afternoon, and night, and twilight, and summer solstice, and any other time you're listening to this. This is that one thing that you keep returning to, kind of like an abusive relationship. I'm David here, and this is Nerdin' Out, and I'm joined here today by Evan, who's trying to be professional, and he just learns to give up.
That opening.
And then Nathanael here. He's back.
I have returned
from a long reprieve.
I was worried that you were gonna, replace me on the show, so I had to come back. David.
I'm not denying nor confirming that. So, I think we all are here today to finally talk about why the economy is so crappy.
I think it failed, David Senpai, because we are being overrun by the Japanese,
I see.
Chinese.
Well,
I mean, let's be honest. It started going downhill back in like 2008. So
that is true. And if it wasn't
we're just along for this ride.
I think it started during World War I, actually.
If it wasn't for those meddling kids, we'd have a great economy.
If it wasn't for those meddling kids, we'd all have a very Merry Christmas.
So, weekly news.
Yep.
So, first we got Solo.
Spit that hot news.
Pa pa pa.
Solo.
We got Solo. Have any of you watched it?
No.
Nope.
I plan on watching
Joyfully so.
I plan on watching it because I'm trash of the Star Wars nature. But I hear it's not that great.
It got like a 71% of Rotten Tomatoes and declining. Like it's going down as
which
we
is not
speak.
the worst, but for a Star Wars movie, yes.
Everyone who's asked me, "Are you going to see it? Have you seen it?" And I say, I always have one response. There are so many other stories I would have loved to hear.
Qui-Gon.
Before Han Solo.
So many other Star Wars stories.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, Qui-Gon, when he was underneath Dooku as his apprentice.
Dude, not even that.
I'd watch the hell out of that.
Dude, not even that. Not even that. Just the birth of the Jedi and the Sith. Can we get a story about that, please? That would be amazing.
No, I want to hear more about Qui-Gon under Dooku, just underneath him.
I mean, that would be cool too.
Physically underneath him.
Or just the years that Obi-Wan was like,
So you're the ones writing those weird fan fictions.
I won't reveal my handle. Darth _Dooku 215 /
Oh.
69.
I thought it was going to be like Feel My Force 6969 or something like that.
That's my other one. That's for the Padme fan fiction.
Oh.
Suck my metaphor!
The Padme fan fiction.
All right. But no, it's gotten terrible reviews, and I hate the commercials that say, #1 movie in the world. It's like, no, it's not. It is not.
So basically what they do is...
in a third world, it's the #1 movie.
You go, oh, Star Wars!
No, when they're like impressed by like a Sizzler opening. That's the peaks of their livelihood. And Solo comes out, they're just like, oh.
Hey, let's go to Sizzlers and then go see Solo.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but basically... If a movie takes over the box office for 1 week, they're like, #1 movie in the world.
Yeah, because it's a new movie that came out.
It's like, duh, it kicked out the Avengers after like 5 weeks. 5 weeks.
Let's just say that also the Emoji Movie and Sausage Party was also #1 movie in the world at one point. So I don't really think that's a fighting title. That's like going to a pizza place and it being the best pizza in the world. There is no competition that's held where every single pizza piece like competes.
It's like they only
There's
have
no
that,
yeah, they only have to impress. Yeah, they only have to
Wisconsin.
impress people.
That's like the Super Bowl champions saying, "It's like we're the world champions." You've played people in the country.
Yeah.
If you played Japan, you'd probably get if you played Russia, they'd probably kill us.
Dude,
They probably use machine guns.
like 4 of the rugby players from Russia could annihilate all of the Packers probably. Like
Dude, the Lions.
Not
the
even
Lions,
joking.
The Lions could, honestly.
That's yeah.
Anyway, okay. So what else we got?
We got Fallout 76.
Hallelujah.
Which
I was say that's Vault 76,
might be
right?
kind of like Elder Scrolls Online.
I've heard that.
Yes, but it's just a rumor at this point. Fallout 76 is definitely revealed, but they don't know what it is.
I'm not super on the hype train just because I've never been a big fan of Fallout. Not that I played it and I didn't enjoy it. It's just it's never been my game. Like I've played it and I get the appeal. I heard about it and I was like, oh, I'm sure David will love to hear that.
I love
Fallout.
But I always get overbencumbered, and then I just
over encumbered.
Dude, you gotta just do the right perks. You just do the right.
You just gotta
stats,
eat.
man.
You just have to eat all the irradiated melons.
Yeah.
See, I know.
Yeah. So that will be revealed like with trailer and stuff.
I was gonna say
probably during E3.
Yeah.
Which is in like 9 days or something.
It's coming up.
I'm so excited.
Mhm.
And another thing that got revealed was Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, which is basically a $60 or a 2-part $60 Pokemon Go expansion. So,
I mean, yeah.
when you think about it,
I'm looking at you, Evan. I'm looking at you.
Well, I don't even have a Switch.
You have Pokemon Go.
Yeah,
I have a
and-
Switch, and honestly, I probably will buy it, but not for Pokemon Go, just because it's Pokemon. Again,
You can-
I'm a horrible
If you
fan.
if you buy it, can I like link up my Pokemon Go to your?
Yes,
See?
you may.
See?
Yes, you may.
Jesus.
And then
Everyone buys the Switch for one reason, and it's for Dark Souls Remastered.
I
Let's
was
just
gonna
be
say
honest.
Super Smash Brothers is coming up at E3.
That too.
so
Or Mario
What
Tennis.
about ARMS, guys?
What about ARMS?
we have them. That is okay.
What about
so
Labo?
Avengers 4.
Avengers 4. Yeah. So I put this in the news because apparently Gwyneth Paltrow revealed a bit of a spoiler for one of the outcomes for one of the Avengers in this, and at least for the storyline, not necessarily for the plot of Avengers 4, but just like a plot line for Tony Stark's character. And apparently,
Oh, I've seen this.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
I have
she
not.
and she someone asked her about like the arc between Peppers and Tony, and she said, "Oh, it used to be. It was nice, like
Boss employee
boss
relationship.
employee relationship. Then it grew into more, and then in the end of it, she says a statement about how like yeah, and then now they're married, and then they have kids, and it's just like
Oh.
wait,
Ah.
well,
So
what?
I guess that's like almost a confirmation that Iron Man doesn't die.
Yeah, but maybe
But
he,
he
maybe
kind of retires.
he just gets his ride off into the sunset.
Right.
Maybe. I don't know. But I just think it's funny because everyone gives Tom Holland so much crap for spoiling things.
Yeah.
They need to get her locked down because
They need to
that's a huge spoiler, at least to an
Yeah.
extent. Like we might know a little bit about the future of Tony Stark, and it's like, okay, so if he dies
Between like
you
the
know.
time it comes out and now, between Tom and Ruffalo and her, like the whole plot's gonna be revealed.
But I mean, it is Tony Stark, so he could just have frozen a bunch of his sperm and then just had kids after. So
Oh, he could make himself like Vision, where he's a robot but real.
Well, in the comic books, he turns himself into another Jarvis.
There you go.
Basically, where
That's what I'm saying.
he like transfers his knowledge and his identity into
Knowledge.
knowledge. I'm just here with my Lamborghini.
I have a bunch of books. Let me talk to you for 40 minutes.
Gosh, I hated those ads every time they came
Oh,
up.
God.
Anyway, all right. Do we got anything else on news?
I think that's it for news. But we do
have stuff. We do have stuff that we're into and stuff that we want
Bingo.
to nerd out about.
Who
Hence
wants to go
the
first?
name of the show.
That's what it's for?
No, we just.
I was gonna say
randomly picked a
Nathaniel.
thing.
Nathaniel, we haven't seen you in a while, so why don't you tell us what you're into? What's
The
going
audience
on?
hasn't seen me for a while either, and they probably never will.
Well, I mean,
But,
I was gonna say they haven't heard you.
yes.
'Cause
So
since this is an audio show.
it is, unless you visualize things. through
So I've been
audio.
staring at what I thought was a hidden camera the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's not very hidden.
that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, when you. yeah.
So
Big brother.
About
Yeah.
over a year ago, a game called Persona 5 came out.
Oh.
I tried playing it like 5 different times, and I just haven't beat it because it's about a 100-hour game. So I just keep getting intimidated. But I'm finally playing it, and it's amazing. It's like anime RPG, high school dungeon crawler drama, everything you want in a game.
But
Everything that I want in a game. Yes, but
does it have the Donkey Kong mini game from Donkey Kong 64?
I'm sure it has something similar. It has so many mini games.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. You can also go in a spa.
What?
You can go in a spa.
Is this plot oriented or is this just?
This is-
You can go to a spa.
Well, you can go to it to improve your charm. So you can charm the ladies. And
It's like
date
GTA
someone.
5
Anytime
online.
I
You
go
can
to a
buy.
spa, the opposite happens.
It's like GTA 5 online. You can buy an apartment. You can buy a car. You can invite friends over to your apartment. You can do that all in real life.
Yeah. You can get friends.
But can you do it in Japan? No.
That's, you know what? Speaking of,
Oh.
a little bit of a teaser for Forza Horizon 4 came out in Japan.
Wait, what?
Japan.
First in Japan?
It may be Japan, yeah. Because they had it in Colorado first, and then in Nice,
Oh,
Messina,
I thought
Italy.
you meant it physically released in Japan.
Oh, no.
recently.
I'm
It's
talking about the
set.
game set is, yeah, it's in Japan. The part of the game which you will be playing in is in Japan.
You guys saw the teaser for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, right?
Yes, it was like 1 second long.
Yeah, and it was like this
got
like
leaked,
gladiator kick, like Spartan kicking a guy off the cliff. I loved that. I thought that was awesome. I hope that's a move you can actually pull off in the game where you just be like, no.
It's just like a mountain appears and you just kick him off.
Yeah.
So, and also I finished this series called The Rain. It is Swedish. It's Netflix original. I think it's Swedish. It's one of those weird European countries. But basically, it's zombie apocalypse without zombies. Instead, the rain infects you and you die. It was pretty good, but it was not amazing at all. It was like a good watch.
God, that sounds terrible. Not like plot wise. That sounds
Yeah.
interesting, but just
No, it was
that the
horrifying.
circumstances that sucks, man.
Especially if you
yeah.
live in Seattle, it's game over from the beginning.
Like it's you just
People in the houseboats are just like,
Moving on.
no, like I can imagine.
That was a really interesting.
I can imagine living like in Arizona or just someplace where it never rains and you're like, I'm good.
yeah,
Sure.
We're at the advantage.
Yeah, that was a fun watch. How about you guys?
Well, I told David about this the last episode, but I gotta tell you, I found this anime and and I'm still watching it and it is amazing.
I see its title, I believe.
Have
on
you
the outline?
Have you heard of this?
I've seen images of it. I know it's partly made by Trigger.
It's Trigger and A1 Pictures.
And who's A1?
The same people
A1
who made
Sauce.
the same people who made Sword Art Online.
Oh, that's right. Have
So
anyone there?
so it's like Trigger, the animation style, but they just took a bunch of sandpaper and sand it down.
Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds amazing.
It is amazing. It's animated beautifully, but that's not why I love it. So this anime, it's called Darling in the Franxx, and so there are these mechs that these kids like control or whatever, and it's okay. It does some things to remind you that you are watching like a Japanese anime.
Yes.
It does some very like fan servicey stuff. But the thing is though, it's different because this actually plays into like character development and it does a really good job of playing off of these kids being raised only to fight, like what happens when they reach puberty and like when all these things happen, and then there's a lot of these character interactions that are like real interactions between kids who have never been taught, what anything is. They don't know anything. They're just taught you guys are only here to fight.
Like Spartans.
Only fight.
Yeah.
And shoot.
Only fight and shoot.
And climb inside giant mech and destroy.
Yeah. And
Douglas Nukem.
so and what's really great about this show, or what I'm really excited about it, is it's being simuldubbed. Every Thursday the English dub comes out, and every Saturday.
just dab.
No, I burped and I was like,
You burped at it.
burped. It's like every Thursday it comes out. Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Burp dab. It's a blab. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
or burb.
So you're saying that...
So and then every Saturday the Japanese episode comes out, and
Wait, Japanese comes out after?
yes,
What?
weirdly enough, yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, and
So you have to wait a few extra days for the only actual legit version.
yeah, but I'm not a purist. I prefer the
Oh, dude,
English
Yes, I hear
dub.
dubs have been getting better, so...
Yeah,
Dude, yeah.
I mean this dub is particularly good, and what's awesome about it is that it's not like a lot of shows where you watch it and then you're like, okay, I get it, I just want to wait for the next one. Like a lot of the episodes like are rewatchable and they're still enjoyable to watch over again. Like I've watched episode 13 maybe like 5-6 times over, because it is a really good episode. One, it's a really good episode. It's animated really well.
Is there a lot in there?
Yeah.
Mm.
And what's awesome is that watching all of them up to that, that episode is like a culmination of a bunch of emotions, and everything kind of fits together, and you're like, oh, it all makes sense. And it's
Do
a
I
really good
hear
show.
a series review for Darling in the Franxx?
I would love to do one if you guys want to.
Only if we do a series review for Lucky Star. No.
I'm assuming that's something...
I got you on the drink. Good.
almost spat at my tea. I would love to do a review for that show if you guys wanted to, but that would imply that you guys would have to watch the show too.
Put it to a
No, I
vote.
will watch it. Not the Lucky Star thing.
Not the Lucky Star. Okay, I'll only do a Darling in the Franxx review if we do a fairy tale review.
Hell
Oh.
no.
That is the worst anime of all time.
Thank you. Thank
Oh,
you.
That was horrible. Come on.
Yeah.
Hell.
She. Anyway, I know. I'm just kidding. I know. I've watched a few of them. It's not good. I really wanted to like it, but I'm just like, whatever.
Especially the dub.
Yeah.
Ah!
Fairy tale, more like you suck.
More like fairly shite.
Good one.
I'm not clapping your hand.
Oh, I'll clap your hand.
Because my hand hurts. No.
Anyway,
That was like
so David,
Yes.
what have you been into, sir?
RuneScape.
Oh.
I'm not even lying.
I was gonna say
They sucked me back in, man. I need help.
I
I need help.
It's funny.
Like
Did they
they
sent you more-
emailed me again.
They sent you more spam to your
They
Yahoo.
emailed me again, and they emailed me on the account I forgot I had, and I get back on, and it's one of the accounts where I like got really, 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 really far in and had a lot. And I'm just like, yes, but I log in, and it's an RS3 account. I don't know if you're familiar with RuneScape, but RS3 has become like a pseudo World of Warcraft kind
Yeah.
of game now.
I heard a
And
lot
I'm
of
just
lot
like-
of jokes about that. Yeah.
Just like, but then I realized that I can move this account over to old school RuneScape, so I'm now stuck again in RuneScape.
That's what you get.
Yeah.
Anything else, Evan?
No.
No. I got one more thing. Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh,
Oh,
my
yeah.
fiance told me about that. She says it's really good, and she really wants me to start watching it.
Watch it. It's so you would love it.
Okay.
Very funny.
Andy Samberg, Terry Crews, other people that don't really matter but are still hilarious. It's so funny. It's basically like a cop comedy.
Yeah.
They're
I remember seeing previews for it, and I remember thinking, oh, it's stupid.
Yeah, it's consistently funny. Every episode has me dying. And
Huh.
it's so ridiculous, but yeah, go watch it.
And it's great because I respect your sense of humor and what you think is funny. So,
thank you.
and not that I don't, not that I don't think my fiance has good taste. That's not what I wanted
That's
to
exactly
imply.
what he's saying.
Hey,
No.
he's not saying that, David. Do you want
No.
to be kicked off the show?
What I am saying is that I just haven't gotten into it yet.
Yes,
And
do
she's recommended it to me. Ugh. I scratched my ear and a big ball of wax came out.
And you scrape it
That's
on
for
the table.
you, listeners. Here, I
Sorry.
can even make the sound. Are you ready?
Oh no.
Twinkies don't make sounds, apparently.
No, it was just clicking from the.
My fingers hitting the
Very
microphone.
disappointed. I was actually very close to deciding to eat that, but
Anyway.
now I won't.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it looks good. I do want to get
Yeah,
into
I
it.
watched the
We'll just
first
have it.
season, and it actually got canceled, but then it got revived by NBC.
Yay. Okay.
So,
No bull crap.
that is our main topic. No bullcrap.
Main topic.
I need
Okay.
pictures of Spider-Man.
Nice Twinkie cigar.
Thank you.
That's James Jameson.
Can I get
James
paid?
Jonah
Can I get paid?
That's what I want from DC. A whole movie on J. Jonah Jameson.
You mean
DC?
you
From
mean
that.
Marvel?
Yes,
I'm
from
sorry,
DC,
from Marvel, I'm
because
sorry.
it would be a,
Well, because he
like
owns
a bad
them now.
ripoff.
Well, they own
What?
him now. 'Cause he's-
Oh yeah, no, but not James Jonah James.
Right, but
They
I'm saying
own-
like,
yes.
I'm saying like that character.
That
Yeah.
yes. You mean the actor?
J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons
Yes.
playing.
He's not a character.
J. Jonah
but he is
Jameson.
kind of a character.
Yeah, he's really interesting.
Anyway, so that's not what our main topic is about. Our main topic is about a video game today.
J.K. Simmons Life Simulator.
I want-
God of War.
I don't know if we would want to.
or Dad of Boy.
Or boy.
Boy, come here, boy.
Yeah. Whenever I hear that.
name's a Trey. It's War.
Okay, so first off, before we dive into this, David, give a quick synopsis based off your vanilla expertise of God of War. What is God of War?
God of War is following a main character, Kratos, who is in himself a god killer, and he finds his way around multiple omniverses of mythical beings, such as Greek and now Norse gods, and kills them all. Sometimes by force, and sometimes
Also
by force. Yeah, yeah.
It's mostly by force.
Yeah.
but-
And the current one that we are talking about, he is Not exactly along with the ride of killing more gods, but he does it reluctantly because he is now overburdened by the ability of being a father.
All right, Nathaniel, do you have anything to add on to that?
Well, yeah. So there have been like 5 or 6 God of War.
There've been
games.
6.
Yeah, and they were all set in Greek mythology type worlds, but the newest one is set in Norse mythology. And what you need to know about the stories of the previous God of Wars is they don't matter. No. So basically, he just kills all the gods. He's lost his family. He kills himself supposedly. Ends the God of War 3 on a cliffhanger, and then he comes back in this new God of War reboot, which is actually a continuation of the story.
Yeah.
So he has a new family. He has a kid. Wife is dead. That's where we are.
Yeah. And
Norse mythology.
yeah, he is this Spartan warrior that pledges allegiance to Ares, the god of war. Ares betrays him. Kratos kills Ares, becomes the new god of war, hence the name of the game. And then the next 5 games after that, he's going through killing the pantheon.
Kratos smash.
Yeah. He goes through the pantheon of Greek mythology and goes and kills everyone. And yeah, like you said, the third one or the last one in the Greek mythology era, he ends on a cliffhanger, literally like a blood trail leading off a cliff onto looking over the world that has fallen into chaos, and then we never hear from him again until now, where now he is in Midgard, which is basically Earth, but in Norse mythology, and he is with his son Atreus, and thank you, David. And that's where we pick up. Now, what can we say about Kratos now? Like picking up in this game now. What can we say about him now based off what we already know about him?
Is this a spoiler review or a non-spoiler review?
Yeah, let's go spoiler review. This game's been out for a while, so we can. I feel
He
like
takes Geritol now, and copious amounts of.
his hut smells like Noxema, and
So Kratos is a ball of raging fire trying to be contained because he has boy.
yeah, boy, and yeah. So now yeah, like Nathaniel mentioned, the game starts out. It starts out with him cutting down a tree with a handprint on it. We don't know why, and then later we find out that Kratos' now deceased wife, Faye, she marked these trees as she wanted to be cut down for her pyre, and then we find out that, okay, so she passed away, and that they have this mission to go and scatter her ashes on the highest peak. That's the mission that you go set out on. Kratos, compared to the previous games, I would say, other than the combat, he has mellowed out a lot.
Yeah, you could tell it's a wizened, tired. He actually learned from his experiences. Finally,
yeah. And he looks more wise now, because he used to have just a goatee
Now he's got a
through most of the
sage
game. Now
beard.
he's just got a huge lumberjack beard, and I love it.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's so majestic. So now, yeah, he's this aged, more wise guy who's learned from his
Wise
experience.
guy,
Wise guy. And yeah, so, but he's still a god, technically. He is still like this Greek god of war, basically, but living in Norse mythology.
And he's
And the
teaching-
Norse gods don't like that.
Yeah, and he's teaching Boy to fight because he wants him to defend himself when he's not there or whatever.
Yeah.
But stranger appears, who we
Yeah.
later find out is Baldur, one of the sons of Odin.
Yes, one of the sons of Odin.
And
brother to Thor.
yes, and immediately you get a ridiculous, just amazing fight, boss fight.
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
And it's awesome because I'll try to touch on this later, but there's a lot of foreshadowing in this first meeting.
Or you could say Thor shadowing.
Anyway, when Boulder shows up to this hut, you hear him like talking from the outside. It's like I know who you are and I know what you are, and you immediately are thinking, oh crap! Like these gods don't like Kratos being here, and they're coming to confront him. And then like you said, this huge fight ensues, and it's it kind of just shows you that like, okay, yeah, like this is happening and we're throwing down and this is
This is still God of War.
yeah. But also at the end of it, you see that Kratos, he's gotten old and he's like, I can't fight like I used to anymore.
Mhm.
Like he's like really tired at the end of it and he's like really beaten up, and you can tell that it's not the same God of War. Like he is definitely older. So David, you watched me play a little bit of it. I offered to try to get you to play a little bit, and you
I was like, for the sake of both of us in the storyline, just keep playing.
yeah, I don't want to mess this up.
Yeah.
But based on what you've seen, just seen firsthand, and also
Mm-hmm.
you've seen clips of it like online and stuff like that. What are your impressions of the game?
I really like it. I like the feel of the game. It has it's very different from any other game that's been released recently. I think the only game I can really compare it to as far as gameplay is maybe like Last of Us, because it has the same, mentor and then young.
You mean story?
Yeah. Well, just like setup, kind of like
Gotcha.
the game setup. But obviously it's nothing like the Last
Because
of Us.
gameplay is very different.
Yeah. But I really enjoy that. It's very visually appealing. It's got a lot of, whimsical, fancy magic, which who doesn't that appeal to? Like, everybody loves a bit of magic,
I agree with that.
right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, if I had a PS4, I would probably get the game. And
No, you would get
That's your fault.
look, I think what
Weaker link.
I think what I enjoy most about it is probably the ability that most people who have not played God of War are probably going to get into God of War with this game. And that's
Yeah.
what I think I enjoy the most about it. It's just when a game can bring somebody else who has not played the series into it.
Because you said you haven't played them, but your brothers did.
Yes, my brothers played. I don't know which number it was, but it was the one where all the giants and the titans were like climbing up the giant.
That's the third
that's
one.
the
mountain.
third one,
That's
yeah.
the third one.
That's
Okay.
the beginning of the third one.
Yeah. So
That's God of War 3.
I remember that one. I remember him mercilessly killing many gods in that one.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I had a reference to what it was about, but obviously this game is a whole
different.
different kind of God of War, and it's relatable because it like services the old fans who've been around for all the previous games, and it also helps the people who have no clue anything about the game is, and anything about the storyline either. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of little nuggets that throw back to the previous story. Like Zeus shows up as kind of like a
Apparition
yeah
in
and-
hell, which I think is interesting.
Yes, very interesting.
It's weird that he shows up as a vision in Norse hell. I
Yeah.
think that's interesting.
Yeah,
I guess
I
I guess
think
it was more on a play of like Kratos hallucinating it, and not necessarily his presence is there, but
but I think it still leaves kind of the question.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, it definitely is a game that anyone can get into just right off the bat,
Mm-hmm.
which is really great.
Yeah.
So what really worked in this game, Evan? What was really good about this game? Besides everything.
Besides everything, something that I didn't notice until I heard someone say it was that this entire game is shot with one camera shot.
It's so incredible.
And it's funny because I heard that once when I just started, and I was like, how is that possible? How are they going to do that? Is that true? Do they not cut ever? And they cut once, and then it's really like a fade to black, like at the very very end to set up the next game. But
Which you kind of have to do.
yeah, and it has to cut at some point, right? But it was crazy because I didn't notice that, but then as I watched it, or I felt like I was watching it because it just felt like a movie sometimes. But as I was playing it and I continued to see it happening, I was just like, yeah, no, this is totally all one continuous shot, and I never noticed that. And
It's just so seamless.
yeah, it's so seamless, and I think that really worked. That was really ambitious of them, and I didn't think they necessarily had to do that for the story, but I think they really wanted to keep you immersed in the story, and I think that really worked because I never felt a disconnect, like you're walking to a room and then just hard cut, and then the camera is somewhere else and you see them walking in or anything.
Or
No, it was-
loading screen. Giant
yeah, no,
loading screen.
no. The loading screens, there was none.
Yeah,
almost.
if you died, there was a loading screen, but that's about it.
Yeah, but loading between realms and all that stuff, it was all immersive, in the world at that moment, and there was no hard cuts, and I think that really helped with like the immersion. I really enjoyed that.
It was actually a really hard sell for Sony because they didn't want that to happen. They were like, "How are you gonna pull that off? That's not gonna work." But,
That's too hard. We can't do that.
yeah, but they were like, "No, we're gonna pull this off." And
The
you'll
director
see."
was like, "No, I got it."
Hold my beer.
Basically.
"Holding my."
Oh wait,
mead."
he's a director. Hold my apple
Mead.
teeny. Yeah.
Hold my
More like
apple.
hold my mead because they're Norse.
So, Nathaniel,
So
playing the game yourself, what did you enjoy? What did you think worked?
I've played the other God of Wars, the main 3 in the series, and their gameplay was probably the best part of the game. It was just really fun and intuitive and streamlined, and just combos pulled off really well. This can I just say Thor's axe? I know it's not Thor's axe, but like the axe.
The Leviathan axe.
Oh, I mean, I could just spend
That's
hours throwing it.
that's my favorite part.
I could just spend hours throwing it and retrieving it. It's just, you could throw it off a cliff, walk around for a few minutes, and then recall it.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear a few clangs, and then it's back in your hand. And
I remember
it's
showing
so
that to
satisfying.
David.
Yeah.
I remember showing that to David. I remember throwing it, and he was like, "Oh wow, look at go into the JPEG image." I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, it interacts." And I was like, "Watch!" I recalled it, and I threw it, and then you saw it hit a rock, and he was like, "Oh wow."
Yeah.
You're like, "Oh, impressive."
They're very good at atmosphere and both big world setup because you can interact with everything you see. It's a
Yeah.
very Dark Souls-esque kind of
and
setup.
I agree with that. The combat and how smooth it was. It was very different because at first, it's a very jarring disconnect from the first games because you have an axe now, and it's like
Yeah, you had like the distance of the
Yeah, and
Blades
now-
of
and now-
Chaos,
and
which
now-
you actually get later, which was
yes.
so it was so satisfying to get them back.
When she said, you know, the cold of Helheim is too cold. Your axe will be useless. And I
I
was
just
just like,
started squealing.
I was like, no. And then it kept going, and he's like, it's like, I have to go back to my home. I was like, no. It's like, and dig up something that was meant to be buried or meant to stay buried. And I was just like, no. And then like he touched his arms, and you heard like the and you're just like, no.
And he was like,
No. And then just this whole slow, so him getting in the boat and going down the river back to his home, and then you see this image of Athena, who was a huge player in like the original God of War series, and she was kind of this goddess that really guided Kratos through most of his journey. And then you see her spirit come back, and you're like, oh, it is exactly what I think it is. And then he goes to his house, and then he pulls out the Blades of Chaos, and it's so,
and it's got like the music.
it's so epic, the chorus and the music, and then basically like all these enemies come out, basically to say like, here, test out the blades, have fun.
Yeah.
And that's where every God of War fan nutted playing that game. Everyone was just like, ah! It was amazing. And what I love about it is that it tests this new like XP. It's really kind of like an RPG system, and they really test this new like XP reward system, and they like enemies have drops now. And where you didn't really get that in the first games, you got the
You just had orbs
like the rage points or whatever,
and health. That's it.
yeah, that you could like use to upgrade your Blades of Chaos. But that was like the furthest it went,
That's about as far, yeah.
and like to upgrade combos and stuff. You can do that in this game as well, but there's far more things. Like you can get gear that helps out certain stats, and oh my gosh. Like, and can we talk about the characters, all the different characters in this story too? Like, they were all like memorable. I loved all of them. Like,
They were really
Brock and Sindri, I love them.
Oh, I love
they were
Sindri.
awesome.
He was so relatable to me. Just he couldn't touch anything. He was just like,
I love Brock. He was my favorite. I related to him so much. I remember one of my favorite scenes from him was they're on the bridge, and then all of a sudden he shows up in the door behind them, and Atreus is like, "How did you get up here?" He's like, "None of your fucking business." I just started crying. I was laughing so hard, and I was like, "Yeah, that's his character in a nutshell." Just like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And then Mimir was great. He just
Mimir, I loved
Yeah.
him too. That was fun. Mimir. Yeah, he's this guy who is full of knowledge in this Norse mythology. He knows virtually everything, and
Kratos cuts off his head and gets it reanimated
Yeah.
and attaches it to his belt.
so now, yeah, he's this little lore master sitting on your belt, telling you everything as you travel. And what's awesome is that like you just see his mouth move and everything, and it's funny because it's like his face is facing you, so he's basically seeing everywhere Kratos has been for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
It's just-
And he's got really funny tales, which
Mhm.
little stories and nuggets about the gods he gives out. Speaking of stories, Kratos has some moments where he tells Atreus some stories.
Boy, no, I mean Atreus. Yeah, well that really
And they're
that,
so funny. It's
Yeah.
just like Kratos trying to be a dad and trying to give
Yeah.
give stories, but they either have no point to them or
yeah.
they're just
Oh
gruesome.
man, like I was gonna say, I want to talk a little bit about the relationship between Atreus and Kratos. Like their relationship, from like what the little you saw. Well, actually, the gameplay that you saw, Atreus wasn't with me.
No, he was sick, but then
Yeah.
right at the end, when he had to choose to tell him that he was a god and that they're both gods, that's
Yeah.
what bit I did see.
Yeah. So,
So-
based on the little bit that you saw of the relationship between, what did you think of it?
I'm pretty sure that he probably got a lot more of his personality from his mother than from Kratos.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good dynamic, especially because you got this, curious kid who just wants to kind of do his own thing, but he's gonna tag along with, kill everything Kratos, who at the moment does not want to kill anything because he's a little bit upset and somber about his
Maybe
wife
has some
dying.
PTSD.
Yeah, so I like the dynamic. It's really fun.
So, how much do you know about Atreus' character and how far it goes into
into the
Nor-
game?
into Norse lore? And stuff
I
like
think
that.
in Norse lore, isn't he like the son of Loki or something like that, or he is Loki or something?
Very close. He is Loki.
Okay, yeah,
He's revealed at the
That's
end.
revealed at the very end.
yeah.
And she's like, yes, there's something else that she called me Loki, and I lost
I
my
threw my
mind.
PS4. I'm just like,
I was like, what? Are you kidding me? This kid and
because at the end it shows, and I thought this was gonna be like the big reveal. It shows on this canvas that Faye painted or something, or someone else painted, but it shows like what's gonna happen in the future. Kratos dies.
and there's something that kind of seems like a snake coming out of him, or serpent-like.
I don't remember that.
There was
but
like a
yeah.
long
Yeah.
something coming out of him. A lot of people are theorizing that since the wolf or the wolf or whatever, and then the world serpent are sons of Loki, or they're the children of Loki.
Oh, is that what they're supposed to?
There a lot of people are theorizing that to save Kratos, Atreus or Loki turns Kratos into the world serpent.
Oh, that would be a really cool thing.
And I thought that was interesting because they pulled like connections and parallels, because the world serpent, he's white, he has a beard, and then he has red over his eyes.
That is okay. That seems very intentional.
Now that you
I've actually
mention
heard
it, it's like,
Yeah.
that's a little too. And then he has this weird thing against Thor that he doesn't like for some reason. And what does the game end off with?
Thor.
Mm.
I mean, and then why is he so friendly to Kratos and Atreus when they first meet?
Yeah. I wonder if there's gonna be some time traveling crap going on or something.
I mean, there might. Who knows?
There might, but
But
I think they're
yeah.
just
So
amending
that's
the-
a theory that I heard. I like no one in the God of War team has confirmed or denied it or
Right.
whatever. But
and they wouldn't anyway.
yeah,
so.
why would they? Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting, and it's funny because they hinted that way before, like in that conversation that you were talking about when we were in the boat, and he's asking Kratos all the questions. It's like can I do this? Can I shapeshift? Can I do this? All the
that's
yeah, all the
right.
questions that he asks, Loki can do,
Yeah.
and it's like, and Kratos is like,
That's some
I don't
great
know.
I don't know the extent of your powers yet.
Yeah, exactly. And
Go see Professor X.
yeah. I'm taking you to a school for magnificent children.
Ah.
Yeah, and I thought that was interesting. And then the awesome, like I mentioned before, the foreshadowing with Boulder showing up, when he's saying like, I know what you are, I know who you are. He's looking for Faye.
Mm-hmm.
Because
He's not actually looking for
he's
Boy
not, yeah,
or Kratos.
or Kratos. Yeah, no, he wasn't looking for either of them, because all the giants were kicked out of Midgard,
Mm-hmm.
and if Faye was a giant, or she was. So then he's like, okay, no, there's still a giant at Midgard. You go smoke him out, basically.
Yeah.
And then and all the things he said was like, it's like, I thought you'd be bigger. Or it's like, I thought your kind was to be so enlightened. And then, of course, they draw parallels to Greek mythology because Greeks were thought to be, so enlightened and so much smarter and all that stuff. And, Kratos was this god of war or whatever. So they thought, oh, this guy's massive or whatever. So
I mean, he obviously didn't see the beard because he was definitely enlightened.
Yeah. But it was crazy. Like, and then at the end, we find out that she's a giant or she was a giant. I thought to myself, Boulder wasn't looking for Kratos.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't looking. What? I thought that was amazing, and I'm like, they set us up for just an easy layup, and then just came from behind, just went no, and just smacked it away, just totally threw it for a loop. I loved that so much. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, and finding out that he's Loki is just. I can't wait to see what happens. Like, I don't know what they're gonna do, what they could do. Like,
All right.
yeah.
So, what do you think? What do you think was bad, if there was anything?
Ah, man, I think maybe this is a really minor nitpick, but you have to open so many chests. Like, I opened dozens, probably over 100 chests. And it's cool because you get a lot of cool loot from them and upgrade your weapons and you get some abilities, but it just got a little bit tiring maybe opening that many chests. And I'm going to still go back and play it again. Or not play it through again, but I still have a lot of side quests and Valkyries and stuff to kill.
Oh my gosh, those are
so
hard.
yeah, that's what I hear. So yeah, I just got a little bit, but that's like the smallest of nitpicks.
Yeah.
There's not much with the game that I have a problem with.
Yeah. I mean, IGN gave it like a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, a lot of places gave it a 10 out of 10.
Gave it perfect scores. And I agree with you for the most part. I don't necessarily say the chests are the issue. I don't mind the exploring part. What I have my nitpick is that, and this is something I guess that just comes down to my skill and my skill level, and that like I'm not the best game person ever. I felt the combat and like learning it and getting adept at it, that was probably the more harder part. And just kind of like learning it and getting good at that. There was a bit of a learning curve. But I mean, once you figure it out, you can just like plow through enemies, and it's like a lot of fun. So
yeah, I played on the second highest difficulty at first for most of the game. Wow.
Give me a challenge.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, the challenges are give me story. And then there was the second one is like just like the normal. I can't remember that one. Then the one that used it, the second the hardest is give me a challenge, and then the last one, give me God of War. It's like
I can't even imagine that one. No, I can't even imagine that one. But I had to switch back because it was just so hard. I was just dying dozens of times, and I was just done with it. But yeah, it does Evan is dying right now.
oh gosh.
I remember my first time drinking too. Okay.
No, I just went down the wrong pipe. Oh my gosh, my eyes are watering.
Well, you need a little bit of hydrogen for your
I was
oxygen.
gonna say vodka, but hydrogen.
2
Good
shots
option,
of
too.
vodka.
Oh gosh, I was just thinking about the ending, and how sad it was. No.
Just got a little choked up, literally.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is I think one of the few games that I've played that I have almost no gripes with. Like almost all of it was just thoroughly entertaining and enjoyable. Maybe there were a few parts where, even the parts that dragged, I liked, because it gives me more game, and it's like game I enjoy.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I think that a lot of the charm to the game in itself is the gameplay, because it's just very, I don't want to say combat oriented, but it does keep you engaged. It is very combat, but in the sense that that's the part of the game that people come back for. I think that's obviously, but I think in this one they did a lot more work on the story too, and I think the cinematic helped with the one shot throughout the entirety of it, and voice acting in this was really well done too.
Oh yeah.
Baldur has my favorite voice in the game. It's just so well done.
I was gonna say Judge,
Yeah.
the guy who played Kratos. They didn't shift pitch his voice at all. That's his voice.
Yeah.
I thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
So freaking deep.
Mm-hmm.
A deep dish pizza on top of another one.
I would love to try to imitate it, but I think
I don't have
my
the
choking
ability.
is.
Hey boy.
Boy, come here, boy.
Nope, not even close.
I can't get deep
It's
enough.
just this is impossible. If you don't have it, we don't have it.
Yeah, we don't have it. But yeah, and it's a really great game. It tells a really great story.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that God of War was missing was story, and this game nailed it.
That and the graphics on it was like watching a watching a TF2 cutscene on the old ones.
On the old ones, they were actually at the top of their game for when they came out.
I that's so hard for me to believe when
Well,
I
They really were.
When I
seeing,
think back
seeing
to
what
those.
seeing what we see now. Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
agree.
yeah.
Like looking back on it now, you
And
can look
it's
back
just
at
so
it.
goofy looking now.
You can look back on everything like 10 years ago, and
True.
it's like
Yeah.
it's like, oh, that looked terrible, but it's like, yeah, because
Yeah,
because
when
of
God
what they
War-
were working with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when God of War 3 came out, everyone was losing their minds. It looked so good at the time. Like, there was nothing that looked like that. And now you go back and you're like, wow, Kratos is really weird looking.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like a little troll.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've come a long way, and I think they've paved themselves a really nice little chest to pull from, especially going forward. I mean, they had pretty much ended the series on a cliffhanger anyway, so I feel
Yeah.
like, you know.
I mean, they're setting up a trilogy. I think.
Oh, yeah.
There's definitely gonna be a trilogy.
Yeah, at least.
Because I think the next one they're gonna be facing Thor, and I think the third one is just gonna be like Ragnarok.
You gotta kill Odin.
Well, no, the third one's gonna be Ragnarok. I think that's gonna
Yeah,
be
and you gotta
because
kill
Ragnarok is like beginning. Will probably be beginning in the second one,
Yeah.
and
That's what they're gonna leave
I
off
think
at.
it's gonna be, or maybe Ragnarok starts, and then maybe the third one is like the climax of Ragnarok.
Yeah, but you definitely gotta kill Odin.
Yeah, Odin's got to be the last one to take down, and you never see Odin in this game ever.
Nope.
Spoiler alert: Mimir is Odin. No.
Oh my gosh, no.
Oh my God.
But no, you never see Odin. He actually
Odin's
you-
son is Odin Dunn in the last game. Is what's gonna be the thing. Puns, I do them.
Puns, I do them. Puns, I hate them. But no, and what's awesome is that they do a really good job of leaving things to the imagination, because a lot of the realms you can unlock and you can go visit and and like explore and all that stuff, but some of them are still closed off.
Yeah.
Like Asgard, that's locked down. No one can go in there. There's no way you can get into Asgard in
It's
this
a great
game.
tease for where you can go.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting that they have all these realms. They have all the locked realms and all this. I'm wondering, like, what's the purpose?
DLC.
I think they're just teasing where you can in the next game, but there's actually several realms you can unlock, one or two of them.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, and one of them is like this Colosseum where you fight a bunch of enemies.
Yeah. The challenge.
That's like-
It's the fire realm, right?
Yeah, I forget.
Yeah,
what it's
you
called.
get to the very top. There's a Valkyrie.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's
I've
9 of
gotten
those.
to like I think the last one before the Valkyrie, and it's really hard because you have to defeat all the enemies without taking any damage.
That's fun.
That's hard because they come at you from everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
you
all
have
said
to
and
literally be a god to beat that.
So all said and done, I give this game a 10 out of 10. I think it's
Mhm.
just one of the best games I've played.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's got to be a 10 for me.
Yeah.
And I know you didn't play the game, but just from what you think,
Would you play the entire game?
would you
if
play
had?
the entire game if you had it?
Oh yeah, I think I would. And it's interesting that I've seen bits and pieces of it just from my brothers playing. So I can't pull 100% of the nostalgic lore from it, but I do like how they've made a good direction with the game, and they've allowed it to be like kind of build upon what they had started already and build interest in Kratos, and then also as Loki becomes a problem or not a problem, that will be interesting in future. But yeah, I'd give it a 10 out of 10, even though I haven't played it. But yeah, 0.01.
It's like I give it a 10, even though I've never played it. I've just seen it.
Yeah,
I know about it, so
That says a lot
I
about
was
the
like,
game,
I've-
maybe.
yeah,
I've heard a lot of people say it's good, so it must be good, right?
right.
Yeah. So
Or he just has impeccable taste
yeah.
and intuition.
Indeed.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's true. I mean, he thought. Well, no.
Oh, dude, don't even. No, don't.
I mean, he
don't.
thought that like Zelda Majora's Mask was a good game. So
That's a fantastic game.
it's not.
It is.
so good. It's one of the best Zelda games.
Oh no.
It's fantastic.
Overruled. 2 against 1.
You didn't listen to our last podcast,
I,
did you?
I have time now, so I will.
Yeah,
Aw,
please.
snap.
You'll hear All of it. Anyway, that's all the time we got for today. Thank you so much for listening and taking the time to listen to us.
Yeah.
Next time, maybe we'll have more fun stuff to talk about. Maybe it'll be more fun. I don't know. We'll see. And we'll catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Boy.
Okay. Let's see.
Alright.
I'm
Do
gonna
we
try.
have to do like a buzzer thing, or what are we like?
Your name is your buzzer.
I will read 2 comments, and then I'll give you guys a second to see if you can guess, and then I'll continue. I will avoid reading comments with names and titles in it.
Okay.
Okay.
I appreciate the theatrical foreshadowing to start off this. What a bitch! Perfect display of her privilege and how she is just abusing it.
Thor Ragnarok.
Nope.
Ah. Ah.
Not bad development of stuff. Just goes to show you to never underestimate people because they might not work a sophisticated job. Also, wow, Marvel, way too fancy. What a fanboy. This is amazing.
Doctor Strange?
Nope.
Are we on the same one?
We're on the same one.
Oh my god.
Dude,
Wow.
it's all from the same one.
Okay.
Let's see.
Emoji movie.
They
I saw an emoji there.
Okay, this is one when I give it away. They're ghosting him. Typical. Aw, kid, you need to have a life.
Spider-Man.
Yep.
Homecoming.
Oh.
And then you hear other ones like, oh man, I already love this kid too much. I mean, he is slightly obsessive and overeager. Can't shut up. He should be a little more afraid of things. And she just goes on. She loved this movie.
It's a
Spider-Man
great
was
movie.
her
It's a great movie.
Spider-Man was her favorite movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Spider-Man Homecoming. Who would have thought?
yeah, that was our number. That was number 1 in our Marvel list episode.
Yeah, it was. It was
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah. Awesome. All right.